I will let everyone get connected and begin trickling in, and then we will get started. So I'll give it a couple more seconds, and then we'll jump in with Jen. Jump in with Jen. That's so fun.
Anything to make it fun, right?
That's right. I love that. What is it? What is that called? An iteration? Jump in with Jen. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Ziera Burkett. I am the Director of Product Implementation with G-Reminders. For those who don't know, G-Reminders is an end-to-end meeting management platform built for financial advisors. So we are automating those strenuous scheduling processes like annual review scheduling. We are handling the notifications and reminders with your clients and prospects. We're automating the sending of those. We're doing cool things in the CRM. Through automation, like kicking off workflows and creating tasks. And then we also have an AI agent to assist in meeting. Today, we are going to be sitting down with Jen Goldman of My Virtual COO and talking about optimizing time in teams with IDOS, AI, and automation. So Jen, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me. I'm excited to see what you have to talk about today and be a part of the conversation.
Absolutely. I'm so psyched to be here too, because I think we all could use a little more sanity and time in our lives. And at some point, I think there's a lot of noise out there, and we're going to just cut right through it and give you some ideas that are, I would say, really easy to implement. So let's go for the easy today, shall we? All
Great
right.
idea.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to give you the lay of the land. We're going to go through a couple different concepts. We're going to go through a true story, and we're going to do something a little interactive today just to lighten it up a little bit. And as I call, bring memory to the muscles on how to do this easier. So with that, I'm going to jump right in and talk about what's on the title slide. So I first want to kind of lay some groundwork and remind everyone that, you know, as a presenter, right, I want to know who's in the audience. And here's what I know, that you guys are in client-facing roles. It could be that you are on this and you're an operator at the business. It could be that you're in front of the clients. Whatever way, it's client-facing. And we have to respect the fact that you have a role of engaging, educating, implementing, and managing. It is a lot to take on, right? So we want to just respect that. We also want to respect the fact that we're presenting this today because we know you're also in a business-facing role. What does that mean? Well, it's this constellation of all these moving parts that you see here, that in any given moment in a day, you might be working within a process or improving one. You might be mentoring someone or being mentored, okay, around responsibilities. You might be front-facing and in a public presence. Maybe you're doing social media. Maybe you're out networking like I just was, or something like that. We just have to understand this is what's going on. It's a constellations of activities. And then we have the people in the middle of all of that. So just for a pause for a moment, we're here to make your day, your work week, your life easier, because this is not easy, the roles that you play. The other part that we all forget about is we're also teachers and champions and leaders. So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't care if you're the person that is at the front reception desk, you are leading by example on first impressions. If you're the person running a team of people, you're championing them just as much as you're teaching them. Some days you got to hold them up because things are tough and hard. And so you want to find the easy button through all of this and all the different pieces that swirl around you. So what I call, and I laugh about this, and you guys can't see my bookshelf fully, but I think that a lot of us are Gumby. So for those that are around my age, you know what I'm talking about. But for those of you that are younger, there is this figure of Gumby and you're pulled in multiple different directions. And luckily in this figure, your arms do not come off and your legs, but the pain can be great to be pulled in different directions. But for some reason, we keep doing this. And so let me explain why we keep doing this, and then we'll get into some of the hows and greats to make it easier. So the reality is, when we're in a business, working on a business and clients, we love successes. We just love them. We're hooked on them. We want to help more people. You're in a profession of giving. And yes, there is payment for that giving, but it is still giving, and probably giving more than we should at times. We all want choices. We want career choices. We want financial choices. We want these freedoms. So we're willing to put up with doing all of this and taking on all the work. We also want to work with happy people. Happy people meaning the peers in our groups, happy clients, happy providers. We want it all. But here's the PS. What we really love is the dopamine and the endorphin surges. So we can say we want all of this, but we love the feeling of it all. And so I'm going to appeal to the fact that I know you're probably all a little bit hooked on that little bit of a surge. So here's a true story of working through the techniques that we're going to talk to you about today and show you how to do. And I'm just going to let you soak this in for about 5 seconds, read from top to bottom of a before and after story. Let me give you the summary of this story. So the business didn't have everything organized. They weren't pressing on the easy button. Everything was really, really hard, all right? When you get to something easier, something that frees up your time, something that allows you to sit down with the team, you can make this kind of story come to life. All right. You can jump the revenue. You can improve the team. You can have better standards and processes, which I didn't even write, gives you a better valuation for loans or leverage or acquisition. All these things are possible, but they have to start with finding the time and the energy to do so. So let's get into the how, because that's what I love. Okay, 3 things. 1, we're going to talk about IDOS, a little mantra to help you out. 2, we're going to talk about time energy mapping. Oh, sounds a little hokey. Wait till you see it. And then 3, we're going to show you about automations and AI to really bring this to life. Why does this all work? Because I'm visually showing you things, and what I'm doing to you, I want to be full disclosure, is I'm activating your prefrontal cortex right now. By showing you, you have no fear of the impact. If I were to verbally talk about this, flight and fight kick in. The trick with everything we're doing is a visualization. So we're going to show you the techniques, but we're going to show you in a way that you can see them. So again, your amygdala does not go crazy and try to protect you. Your prefrontal cortex is going to go, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. This is going to work, right? Just wanted you to know what I was doing there. Okay, so let's talk about IDOs. I'm going to give you a little bit backstory here. So many years ago, when I started the business, and I brought on team members, they always wanted to understand, like, how could you run through a whole process in a business, a whole, let's say it's a client journey or something operational, and really just identify all these time savers. And I had to take my brain and somehow be able to articulate it to my own team members. So as much as I'd love to say I did it for all of you, I actually did it to train my own people. And this is what we came up with. When you work in any part of the business, something especially that's repeatable, you want to IDOS it. So here's how it goes. You want your brain to ask, is there a way I can integrate something to cut down on the work? Is there a way I can delegate, eliminate, either by saying no, little Greg McGowan, or automating? Can I outsource this, maybe to a provider I already have on my team? Or should I staff it differently? It's the shortest way to flip a switch in your brain very quickly to improve and cut down on the work. So again, how can I IDOS this? And just saying that technique will actually put you into what's called Kaizen, or continuous improvement mode. Sounds simple? It probably is. Try it out. Take it out for a swing. Trust me, it'll make a difference. I promise you. Okay. This is where we're going to go into something fun in a second, but I first want to explain this. So we always talk about time, right? We're here today thanks to Sarah and the team about G reminders and, how to block things and how to do, manage your time really well. And that's great. But what are we really trying to do? We're actually trying to manage our energy level. I know I'm great in the morning for high detailed work. Probably not a good time for me to do calls because I'm all jazzed up and I talk a mile a minute. Afternoon's better for me for the calls. We have to know our energy and when it's high and when it's low and when it's good to use. And what's most important about this is we need to know our peers' energy level as well. So we're a big believer in visualizing, mapping out your time and energy. And here's how you do it. You keep it really, really simple. And we're going to do a muscle memory exercise today on this. You pull out, I don't care if it's sticky notes, an electronic board, showing you in several different ways you can do this. But what you want to do is you want to map out when you want to work on things during the day. And then you want to compare them to your peers. Again, you want to map it out for yourself, and then you want to compare it to your peers. The beauty of this exercise is you will find that there's a better time of day to have team meetings. There's a better time of the day to do strategy versus client-facing work. And when you start to flow and align with your energy, the day will get easier. Again, one of these things, I know it sounds some a little crazy, but it actually really works. So let's bring this to life and let's have a little bit of fun with it. So if you don't mind, I'm going to put this in the chat and we're going to have a little fun on the board. All right. So if everybody can look at their, you know what, I'm going to put it through to Emily. Can you put this out to everyone? Is that possible? If you can't, let me know. We'll find another way. We're going to have a little bit of interactive fun today as I see people jump in. And this is where we're going to go. It's going to look like this. Awesome. Thanks for joining the party. This is great. And again, full disclosure, I'm working on your brain right now. So just to be clear, okay. So for those of you that are quick starters, you jump in. Here's what we're going to do. You get to pick a column, any column, doesn't matter, okay? You choose. But let me show you how to work on a whiteboard if you haven't worked on one before. With your mouse, if you right-click and hold down, you can move the board around. With a left click on any one of these little icons, you can move them down into a section. And in the bottom right corner, you can zoom in and you can zoom out. Okay, so here's what I'd love you to do. And then I'm going to explain, again, the method. Grab the little sticky notes at the top, the yellows, the greens, and I want you to pick a column and start putting them in the time slot of the day that you think it's best for you to do that type of work. All right. Love it. Keep going for it. I probably should do my own too while we're at it. Why not?
I love this idea. I've never seen anything like this for webinars. I think this is so excellent and engaging.
Exactly. Well, you know what? We all sit there and we're just talked to, right?
Yeah, I mean, like typical structure, you're just sort of being talked at, you know, and you're trying to consume as much information as you can. And I think, you know, when they talk about learning styles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the best way to do it is to teach. So it's like, well, that's great. I guess I myself, if I'm presenting, I'm consuming, you know, I'm able to commit that to memory. But doing, right, is the second best way to learn something. I think this is awesome.
Yeah. And I think we've forgotten that. And
Yeah.
listen, there's a lot of the businesses, to respect you guys, some of you guys are all working remote from each other. We work with businesses that are all remote. So how do you do this together in a circle of trust? Use it from the movie with Robert De Niro, right? Like this whole trust factor of sharing and being transparent. This is how you can do it if you're not together. Now, in the quote old days, and even now, sticky boards, whiteboards. I just told somebody the other day, where's the glass and the markers? Like that was what we used to do, right? That because standing a course, if anybody knows anything about neuroscience in the body, standing actually sparks the brain much better. So to do this really well, you'd be standing, which I could if I didn't want to mess up my setup right now, right? We all like sit, stand, desk, but the reality is you want to do this together. Don't worry if you drew a line, somebody, it's all good. I can remove it. Somebody's having a line go across. This is great. So keep going. I don't want you to stop. if you can listen at the same time, let me explain what's happening here. Okay. So if you're higher level at your company, you have very little fear about doing this. But if you're lower level, you fear advocating for what time of the day is good for you. That fear is gone when you do visualization of time and energy. The other thing is I didn't ask you to do energy because you wouldn't have known how to do that. We are, for some reason, especially in the United States, and you could be across the world right now, so hopefully you're in a better culture, but we put a lot of value on time in this country. But if I talk to people in Canada, they put a lot of value on energy and moon cycles, and each country has a different type of culture. But I purposely, in this case, presumed a lot of you are in the US, you think in terms of time. But what you're really thinking about is what's the best use of my time during the day, and that's best use of energy. Now, the best businesses, when there's more than one or two people on the team, share this and do this together, because this is where they get a better flow of when they should be doing client meetings, client calls, internal meetings, or quiet time. Then by quiet time, I don't mean sleeping on a rug, although maybe some of us dream of that. Maybe it's workout time, right? Like some businesses, everybody's like yoga time at lunch. It's all great. Super important to visualize. And the beauty of this is it's memorialized. So you can come back to it when you're doing your time blocking and software systems. Come back to it when you feel like things are not flowing well in the office, and take a look at it again, because we do all change over our lifespan.
And I think too, not to cut you off, but I think there's also a level of accountability for this, like internally, where it's like, oh, that's right. I did say, you know, it almost like puts you back into the original headspace you were in when you first built this out, right? It's like, wow, why am I not performing at peak function? Or I'm feeling really burnt out on this. Almost just jumping back here and referencing this and being like, oh, right, because I literally said, typically I like to do client facing work right now. I don't want to be doing business development. I do best at that in the afternoon. That it almost like gives you reason to like why you're maybe not performing in the way that you'd like to, or showing up in the way that you'd like to. And I'm all for that. I think everybody does, like, struggles a little bit with some internal accountability on like, oh my gosh, I said I was going to do it this way. And then, you know, our businesses change, or we're putting out fires, or something happens, and then it sort of veers our course a little bit. It's good to have something like a nucleus to come back to. Yeah,
that's right. And here, you know what? I'm going to go double up on what you just said. What about the newer staff member that sees somebody else spinning their wheels? They're not going to verbally walk over and say, tis, 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 this wasn't a good use of time. But could they pull this up and say, hey, can we revisit that chart? It's an indirect way of presenting or confronting someone in a tactful, respectful way of saying, you kind of fell off from what you wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be something
anything to bring down the friction would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. It can be something that's more collaborative. And I think, to your point, opens a conversation around, hey, you know, we said we'd function this way. What if we tried to get back to this? Because we've veered a little bit, you know. And absolutely.
That's right. That's right.
Softens the blow.
It softens the blow. It's right. It's good messaging. Okay. So you guys, that chart's going to stay. I know you guys are going to probably play. I'm going to move it back over and bring it back to this. But you get the idea, something pretty darn simple, something huge on communication among team members, and also on flow and using your day wisely, and every day for that matter. Obviously, you know, you can make this chart out for a week at a glance if you want. Okay, so let's get into automation and AI. So we covered IDOs, we covered the time and energy. Can you tell I'm already working through stuff real fast here? Because it's not that hard if you know where to start. So let me give you the storyline on this. We are inundated by the amount of AI out there. I cannot begin to tell you. It's too much research. I'll admit it. We have been inundated by automations. What do we turn on? What don't we turn on? So I'm happy to do this with G reminders, because frankly, there are so many tools in each of our software toolboxes that we're not using that are incredible time savers, right? This is one of them. And I make nothing to promote this. I'm just lucky to be in front of all of you because I consider myself to be a teacher and I want to pay forward what I've learned. This is super important. Scheduling your day around your energy and blocking is crucial. And then for each call and meeting that you do, getting the maximum output from it. So let me explain all these lines so you understand. The top grid of color tells you what type of data is flowing between the software programs. So again, the top grid of data is what data is the grid. It's flowing between the software programs. Below in the middle is an example, and there's so many different variations of this, right? Of what you can have flowing between a CRM, an email box, G reminders, and other parts of your system. Drawing lines with colors is another neuroscience technique, guys. So to be fair, even though I've been doing this for years, now that the studies are out, there's study of why this matters. It has you get excited about the opportunity to cut down on work instead of fearing that you will lose some responsibilities that you were valued for before. Let me say that again. Visualizing and using color gets you excited about the opportunities versus fearing the loss of value of the work you did before. So if you're on this call and you run a team and you're the executive of the business, you might love this. You're like, I'm all for this. But your team members might start freaking out because maybe they valued themselves and they thought you valued them based on something you're now going to automate through AI and get rid of. And all they're thinking is, what am I going to do to fill my day? Does this mean I don't have a job here? Does this mean I'm going to get a pay cut? As owners and leaders, we forget that there's humans that will be impacted by automations, AI, or the both. So we have to present these things in a way so people get excited about it versus fear it. So you can tell, maybe this looks pretty swank to you, but guys, sticky notes, whiteboarding, simplistic types of maps like this are super important. And what's really nice is if you draw something up, as rough as it might look, you can hand it to your providers and say, is there any lines I'm missing between your software and the other softwares we own? It's not a hard conversation. It's literally an email with a picture. It's pretty understandable what that question is. Your providers will now step in and say, absolutely, you could have this happen or that happen. And that's exactly like G Reminder's great example. They keep adding on different features. And it's hard to keep up with the emails. I get it. Our email box is overloaded. And we might only be plugged into, I don't know, 50 different software programs, right? Everybody's marketing to you. So drawing the map lowers the fear, opens the opportunity, and it gives you a tool to send to the providers and say, tell me what I don't know and I can maximize on. Hope that makes sense to you. Very quick idea. By the way, this is a great exercise for someone in the office that's a tech junkie. You don't want to do it. You're leading the team, you're leading the business. Don't do it. Give them the example and they're off to the races. All right. So let's just go through a little bit of the lines here down below, just so we can be really clear about things. So when you're using, for example, in this case, we have the CRM happens to be Wealthbox, and we're using the G reminders on the left side. What we're basically saying is that from calls through Zoom or other ways, G reminders can grab data and flow it into the CRM. Everything from notes from a call to triggering workflows, and the list goes on and on. Some of this is automation. Some of it is AI. Honestly, I don't care which it is. It's something to cut down on the workload. And that's when you do this, then you come back to your time energy. Now you have more free time on the team and you fill it with other good, purposeful items to do. So I hope that makes sense. I know it's a lot. Okay, so let's wrap this up because as I told the team, I'm always about quick learning, easy learning, and visuals. By the way, I should have said this at the beginning. There will be a link at the end with Cliff Notes, or I'm supposed to call them Spark Notes now. Something really short, sweet to kind of summarize everything. So guys, sorry if you're snapping away or whatever you're doing, you didn't have to. There's something at the end where you can get a download. Okay, so let's talk about the benefits of all this. We talked about visualization, lowering the fear of change, super important. What does that do? It allows everyone to use the good parts of their brain and energy and find more wins, and they're more quickly adopt things because they're not so worried. That gives you quicker, easier success, goes to more energy and rewards. And in that rewards, I would say financial is part of it. And then we get the happier environment, team and clients. All right. So takeaways, let's go the VOBE. All right. Visualize, optimize, boost, and experience. You're going to want those. So start drawing, start looking at time and energy, do your tech mapping, use that IDOS to really kick it into high gear. And that is everything I have to give you.
Thank you so much, Jen. That was really wonderful. I loved how interactive. I feel like there's not enough. I mean, when I say not enough, barely any webinars that I think really ask that of the participants. You know, I think we often get like Q&A things and that's fun and that's fine. But I think, yeah, being able to jump in and feel like they're part of it is really important and just super impactful. I think that's really great. And everything that you've said here, I certainly hope it's resonated with me. I certainly think most, if not all, of the participants can agree. So yeah, I think from here, next steps would be to go to the link that is put in the chat to everyone. For Jen, you can also scan her QR code. And if you'd like, you can also sign up for a free trial of GReminders and see how it can be an extension of your CRM and tech stack. While it is another piece of tech, we don't tout ourselves as being another piece that you have to live out of. And to Jen's point earlier, you know, everyone has a new AI tool, or we talk about automation, and it is important to remember that ultimately people are the ones that are working for us. Any company that I think touts themselves, whether it be automation or AI, that is looking to replace team members is the wrong message to be sending. You know, ultimately AI should be used as an assistant or an extension to our practice. Automation should be to free up time for your team members to be able to grow your AUM, uncover new business or existing business opportunities. They can service your clients in a much more personalized way, right? Because I think ultimately that's what we're trying to do within our firms, is deliver a really wonderful and trusting personalized client experience. But unfortunately, we're often bogged down with a lot of the administrative tasks around delivering those experiences that it ends up, you know, we cut corners where we can, and it's certainly not in documentation and processing applications, right? It's probably how long we can meet with someone, or if we can really sit and talk about a lot of personal things going on in their lives outside of, you know, just what their financial accounts are. So having the time to do that, and then also having a team that has the time to process those applications, move that money, grow your business, is where you should be looking at pieces of tech for, not necessarily looking for things to replace team members and cut costs that way. We want to grow. We want to increase our AUM, not cut costs in order to pocket more. So my general feedback back there. So if you like a demo on GReminders and how we're doing that, you can go to greminders.com/demo and get a demo there and begin your free trial. But thank you so much, Jen. I'm so appreciative. And thank you everybody who joined. It's been an absolute pleasure.